start recording. Okay, this is start of video 2 of 2. We went longer. I was gonna break it up on LMT. Anyway, Mara is not a good place to. It's not a good stock for me to trade, and it's going into resistance into 850, 848. That's 8, 840, 850 are resistance zones. I think there'll be sellers there. Melly, it is a pretty tough stock to trade because the options are so. It's like the old Shopify. The options are too expensive. They're not very liquid. It's stuck in a range, so there's nothing to do. It was a buy on the way down, but it was on the way down a buy at so many levels that I wouldn't touch it. I mean, I can tell somebody to get long here, then leave, and then $400 later, it is the same reason for you to get long. It's like, what? No, not for me. A lot of sellers, you take this out, it goes to here. Higher lows, lower highs, who's going to win the battle? So 1050 versus 825. You see what I mean? It's a massive range. Meta, what do they do? Not an obvious starting point. I am concerned about Meta. When they report next time, like Netflix, I want to try on the bearish side. And I'm speculative. I like the company. I just don't know if they are going to deliver another shrinking quarter. Shrinking in sales for a growth company is a red alert for sellers. On a dip, you would find me doing a credit put spread maybe. Magnite, okay, so not for me at this level. 14 was a prior fail. I would assume it's going to be tried to be failed again. 3M stuck in the middle of the range, nothing to do here short term. They have a whole bunch of lawsuits, I think. So you have some sort of a rising channel, but you had one here. Look how that ended. And I'm pretty sure you had one before it. So is this rally going to be sold, and how deep? If it falls into 114, maybe. Mosaic, good consolidation, stuck in the middle of the range, not much to do. Sellers into 50 and 51 and 52. Higher lows, rally sold, a whole bunch of sold rallies. This is a fail, this is a fail, this is a fail, this is a fail. Not very encouraging. Okay, you have higher lows this time as well too, but be careful chasing. Merck. Okay, again, is that the same person? Because I have a person that's been with me for 10 years. He always sends me these. What do I do now? Like, you've been with me for 10 years. You don't know my answer. This is not an obvious starting point. Although it looks like a nice ABC, so it is shortable from that perspective. If you wanted to buy a put and see what happens to it. But why are you buying the put? I don't know anything about it. So great stock in a bad neighborhood. That's a good sign, but definitely not to get long. TH, too high to chase, too hot to short. Microsoft, good fundamentals. It is the market. I would buy it on dips into 244. I hope it falls $10. Not for you to lose money, but it would make it such a good breakout from 256. Again, look at it. Look how clean this neckline is. Okay, so if they would just let it happen just one time, drop, gather some steam, come back and bust it out. You can fill this gap and then some. So good opportunity, but just patience. Not everything in one day. What is this? Norwegian. They're still fighting that one neckline. I mean, it looks like, oh, yes, nice rally. Okay. But now you have a mess of sellers up here and barely hanging on buyers down here. If you lose this, I think it comes down to 14.3. But you have to lose it. Okay. So the way it would happen is they go below, they try to pop right back up, and they get sold at a lower high. And then they finish the job. So I have a whole bunch of arrows, just as a warning. Okay. Don't short it actively, but it is shortable. Netflix, I want to take puts into the earnings based on a hunch. Not that the company is crappy or anything, because of how people are going to react to the headlines. Nothing to do with its fundamentals. It is clearly a successful company. But I think people are going to react negatively if they deliver worse numbers than last time. Reed Hastings will have some splaining to do. Okay, so we have sellers and sellers, important zone, now they're problem zones on the way back up. I don't touch the stock anymore. Successful company, they sell a lot of EVs, but fundamentals are not everything. When they rally, if they rally, they're going to have sellers all over the place, and it can spike to high heaven. So if you want to gamble some money on it, fine, but it is not for me. Chinese headlines are unpredictable. ServiceNow, you can see this. Okay, that's the trigger, higher lows. That's good. So we'll take that noise. They hit the target on the way down, and this is the neckline from which they fell apart. So I don't think it's going to be easy. Nerds. Oh, it is NerdWallet. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Stuck in the middle of the range. That's a technical trigger. You should have buyers here. I don't know anything about their fundamentals. Again, tiny company. At least this one doesn't bleed like the other one. I forgot which one it was. I wouldn't invest in that company, personally. Trading, that's fine. NVIDIA, same comments as AMD. Good trend, going into a massive fail. It shouldn't be easy. They need to drop to 152, get better steam to come back and tackle this so they can take out these resistances. Okta. All right, so is this a rounding bottom? This is no touch for me. If I had a mistake and this fixed my mistake, I would have been out. Oracle, not an obvious entry point. Good trend. It's an amazing trend, but it's weird. Technically, if it dips to here, it comes back and gets to 90 or 92.5. So it's not shortable unless you're actively shorting it. But it's not a good place to start a long short term. Paramount, I would forget this existed. So they have sellers at 21 through 23. What is this? When they take this out, then talk to me about trends, shifts. I don't know what Perry is. Parian Network. Not an obvious entry point into this failure from a year ago. Sounds like a COVID stock to me, like a COVID type of a trade. Pony? Oh, PGNY. Sellers at 38, plus or minus a few cents. You better hold this, otherwise you come down to here, where you have support. Planet Fitness, it's going into a prior fail. It's going to find sellers. It's probably going to dip to 72, 73, hopefully not more. And it can come back, take this out, and get to here. Somebody said I own shares, I think, and they wanted to sell covered calls. Into prior resistance is a place where I would sell covered calls. I want to caution you not to sell covered calls unless you really can sell your shares at that price. I don't want to hear you say, I sold covered calls and now I'm in trouble. You shouldn't be physically in trouble. You cannot be physically in trouble if you just don't sell a call you can't honor. And if you book a loss on a covered call, you effectively said, and if you followed my rules, you effectively said, I would rather book a loss than book a profit. All right, what is this? Palantir. Okay, so I am long Palantir via about a 30% stake. Like if I wanted to own 1,000 shares, I only have 30% of them. And I did not add on the dips, and I'm greenish on the stock because as it fell, I was willing to add. And I was selling puts and put spreads, and I never got assigned. So considering all the premiums I sold, my price point is slightly higher than current price, but I've been selling premiums to collect, and those have lowered my entry price. So I'm patiently waiting as an investment. I have not added though. I was willing to add, but they didn't assign me, so I can repeat. I haven't repeated. The premiums have not been that exciting. Plug. This is your target. This is your button to get you to here, and this one will get you to here. So you have a problem here and a problem here, and that's your target. If you get there, exit. Base, maybe. So buyers versus sellers stuck in a range. Pubmatic. I don't know why this ticker bothers me. I don't know why. Because there's another one just like it and a whole slew of them. Again, what is this? So these are Cathy stocks. Okay, so the Cathy fade is over. If you have ARK investment and you have this one, you're doubling up. Unless you know something for the long term, then don't look at the chart. Buy it based on conviction of thesis. or success in the business and don't look at the chart. Just manage your losses or gains. So right here, there's nothing to say. You have a seller here and a buyer here. Which one happens first? I don't know. Qualcomm running into a prior fail, not a good place to get started longs. You do have buyers below. So again, stuck in the range. Oh my God. Okay. Another Cathy stock. Yep. And this one's sales are dropping. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Just based on that. Let me rephrase kindly. I can find better stocks to own. This is a good technical trigger. If you can close above that, maybe it will get you to here from that perspective. This is a strong floor. So if it falls into a strong floor, I can try to catch the falling knife. Buying it into a prior fail, you're guessing that this one will break out. So this is a scenario where technically you would want to drop so you can catch it and ride it back up. Who is this? Okay, RCL. Somebody said, I'm down 40%. Where is your stop? So if you followed me into this, the way I worded it, I'm doing something new. I'm learning something new, and it told me there's a drop down to whatever by late December. It hasn't played out. It played out for a day or two, and it hasn't since. But I also said I would stop out, and I also said it's not a huge investment because I am learning something new. In fact, there was a day when it came back to green, and I said, if you hated it a day before, this is your exit. And then I literally said, I'm leaving a little bit of money on the table to teach myself consequences of this new thing I'm learning. And it's called the wolf wave. The scenario is still there, but it's not playing out. So if you're down 40% and 40% is the maximum loss that you should be taking, then you should have been out. And set an amount of, and I don't know the size you took or anything. So I still have skin in that game. I am also down, but on purpose to learn something. So if I invested $1,000 and I still have $400 and I don't think it's going to work out, I would take those $400 out. So statistically, I don't know what kind of a setup you have. If that delta of the put is too low for your liking, then you should exit and redeploy the same money somewhere else with better odds. Not increase the size. I don't want you to throw good money after bad. Ride. Really? How did I miss that? What are we doing with Ride? Isn't this the company that said, we don't know how we're going to get our next dollar. We're looking for alternatives. Okay, so if I'm stuck owning a stock like that and the management tells me they're looking to sell themselves or find alternatives, I'd be out so fast from an investment perspective. From a trading perspective, this is a tough spot. So is this. I mean, might as well go to Hyliion at this point. What? Okay. I would rather do NEO than these. Ross Store, somebody said, how long can it rally? It can rally until no end, but it is going into prior fails. If your position is withstanding a lot of losses, you should evaluate first, your pain tolerance. Where is your stop loss? If you don't have one, you should get one. The second one is, what are your odds of success? You don't know what that is? Okay, the easy way to do it is look at your delta of the bought put. If it's too low, then your odds are crap. You should resituate your risk. Don't add to it unless you have a reason. Why did you short it? Is that reason's gone? You should close the trade. And if you don't have a reason, you should consider closing the trade. Why are you acting? Sentinel 1. Okay, again, broken stock. You should go check the company to see if it is broken. Dividend equity ETF. Okay, so why is this rallying when now I can get 4% from lending money to the government? Why would a dividend stock be rallying? That's bizarre. Yeah, not for me at these levels. Most definitely. If I was stuck in a losing position in this one, I'd be out so fast. SCVL. Shoe Carnival. I don't know what that is. You have sellers up here. If you take out this prior fail here, maybe you get to 31. Close this gap, I would be out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a broken stock. If you still own the shares, then you should ask yourself why. Uh, I thought, for what? How did this happen? I thought they're making money hand over fist. So this is like Carvana then? They're buying their sales? Yeah. Sheesh. Yikes. Yeah. Not for me. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry you're stuck in it. Shopify did exactly what we said it would do. Up here, I would wait for the dip. Which one? One of these purple ones. So not pointing to here. I don't want it to fall to here. The method is they're buying dips. They're buying dips. So there should be a dip next. I'm going to leave it here so I don't claim that I drew it. This was me saying we have an ascending channel now, and the bears probably haven't realized it. And we are in the process of buying dips. That's the algo. The algorithm now is to buy the dip rather than sell the rips. And you can see how the area is a problem. How about this one? Yeah, I'll put here. Alert. Beating prior fail from August. Beating major August fail. That's important. Silver. I gave you the long in gold and silver weeks and weeks ago. If you're considering getting long here, I mean, you could make money, but there's no obvious reason to enter here. Okay, Sandal. Same comments as all the pot stocks already. Not a place for me to get started after a spike this big. If you bury Sundial, not Sandal. If you believe in the long-term sustainability of this one, then invest in it and don't look at the chart. I would not add to my long just because now it's greener. It's a budding industry. Get it? SoFi. So above here would get exciting. Into here is exciting. This is a good speculative bet on the future success of the company. I don't think Wall Street understands it. I think they'll do well. So if you want to risk a couple of bucks on it, fine. I would use shares, not calls. Or sell puts to own shares. For example, if you wanted to own 200 shares, sell 2 puts a week until you get assigned. Okay, so 167 is a trigger for target. We bought the dip, made money. There's no easy entry here. Only dip, I would sell another credit put spread. Okay, everything I said 2 seconds ago about whatever sundial applies here. This will be my choice among all of them, by the way, as management teams. Somebody's asking about TQQQ. And they also talked about spreads, selling credit put spreads on the way up. I would never chase with credit put spreads. I would never do a credit put spread on this ticker either. This ticker, you either buy shares or buy calls or puts in the money, and only period of time. Why? Okay, so let's go there. It just doesn't hold value very well. So this is the pandemic. This is where it is. If you go to the Qs, they are here relative to the pandemic. So how is that possible? They're supposed to be tracking that. So they don't hold value. Oh, it's because this, you idiot, Nick. Yeah, whatever it is, it doesn't hold value. So I'm not in. All right, Tesla. It's in the hands of the bears unless they close convincingly above the 215 area. So on the weekly basis, Tesla is in deep schmutz. If it doesn't get back above this purple zone and close there and dip and come back and take that out, they are probably going to 140-ish. That's not my scenario. I'm just telling you what the bulls need to do. Rallies are being sold. Look at it. Rally sold, rally sold, rally sold, rally sold, rally sold, rally into a huge zone. And if you go to a weekly chart, you will see it clearly. Huge head and shoulders, huge. This happened to AMD and Nvidia and Bitcoin. If they don't recover that neckline, they're likely to do this. Don't short Tesla. You just said, I didn't say it's going there. I'm saying the bulls need to get above something. Okay. TTD. This is their effort to get out from selling rally mode. So they have this descending channel in play. They're trying to snap out of it. It's not a guarantee. Swimming sideways out of a tide. Think about it. That's how it happens. So you need higher lows, and you need them to take one level at a time. So that's the second level, that's the first level. So basically this, then that, then you're out of the riptide. Upstart, just like SoFi. I own a 20% stake, super red. It was super green 2, 3, 4 times. I didn't book it. So now it's red, and I need a pop. Now, I want to see a few months of their P&Ls, maybe 2 P&Ls, before I decide whether I want to cut loose or not. I'm not adding, not 1 nickel. Veritex, it does not look like it's an easy place to get long, has a good buying trend. So a dip is buyable below 316, and a breakout from here could get you to 332. Whoa, I think we just had an earthquake. Small one. Okay, so buyers here, sellers here. Nothing to do short term. What is this? Workiva. That's a new one. I do not remember ever seeing this. Okay, this is not a good starting point going into 90 and 95. Look at this pivotal zone. Yikes. So do your homework on Workiva. If you're profiting, consider trimming some. Wolf. Not an easy entry. Okay, you have buyers down here and sellers up there, but I don't know what this does or anything. Wolf speed. Why are we going down the options chain, the quality chain? I call this stuff escargot. For as long as there's cheese and chicken, why do I have to eat escargot? Oh, but escargot can taste great. Yeah, if you smother it up with butter and dip it into whatever, garlic and a whole bunch of things. Why? We have regular food. Okay, Wynn Resorts. I think there are some reopening headline for China there. Some licensing approvals there. So this is all headline. If you force me to trade it, I would fade it. Buy a put spread out in time, sell a call spread, and stop out accordingly. So this target was on our radar. This is a prior zone that was on our radar. It's not usually a good starting point. All right, this one is, I am short the XLE again. I caution you against shorting this crazy ticker. This is basically you're shorting Exxon Chevron. They are almost half of it, those two stocks. I sold a credit call spread up here. I shared it. Actually, I sold it at 95, 95 and a half. It's working well, I think, or okay. I caution you against leaving it open for the last few days of its life. Close it early. I don't care how, quote, safe it looks. I'm giving you directive. XLF, just like BAC, not an obvious entry point. I don't understand this trade, this love of banks. I don't. Zig. Gus, we're almost done. Zig. Zag from Zig. This is a failing point. If you take this out, maybe you get to here. But this is not my own thing. What do you mean, what? We start early. Zscaler. Right, but we did well. I'm prepared. I'm talking well to going through the list fast. Okay, so we are going into a prior fail. Zscaler fell apart on earnings. This company can make you a lot of money. I think I shared along, did I not? And it's up like 22% in hours. I said I would buy a call February or January, and I chose the February call. I'm pretty sure I did that. Maybe it was a different stock. Was it? Anyway, Zscaler runs really fast. And fundamentally, it's a good company, like on paper, right? And it's fairly new, so it's fairly misunderstood. Buying dips into support makes sense. Panicking out, it doesn't make sense. So, oh, okay, Luis, yeah. One caution on Zscaler is stop out quickly, and also the quotes are a little weird. You know, they don't, not very clear. American Airlines. Oh, we're back to the beginning, and there it is. Boom! It's the end of it. So, all right. Here's the deal, folks. We have 80 people here. A lot of you are new. Don't fight the trend, Peter. if Wall Street hates it, you don't need to love it to death. Okay, don't be the hero that's trying to save and convince Wall Street that they should like a stock or not. So the way to do it is you buy the shares and you don't use options. Sure. So here's the thing. Tonight I will send out another video. This will take me 2 hours to push out. The video tonight is a strategy video. They're usually 7 minutes. Very short, very sweet. The message is going to be, this time, is going to be like Qualcomm. Wait, AVGO. The message is this. We just had a great rally. We're running into prior fail zone. We should fail a little bit so we can come back and have a higher high. And if we can do that, 4,300, then fall back to 4,180, 4,150. Find footing. A new all-time high is definitely doable thereafter, because then you break out of 43, gets you to 46 in the SPX. Same here. So this is going to be the message. Let it fall so you can gather more momentum. Like when you're trying to break down a door and you're leaning into it, back up a couple of steps and you'll be able to bust it down. All right, I've said enough about this. Okay, folks, I'm going to stop recording.